Jannik Sinner was the main protagonist of this week. The young Italian ace won the Masters 1000 in Cincinnati last Monday, and the following day it was announced that he had been found positive for clostebol in 2 doping tests carried out in March. After a long process that lasted several months, the world number one was recognized as innocent by ITIA and received full support from ATP. Jannik's contamination was unintentional, and the Australian Open 2024 champion could not have done anything to prevent it. The 23-year-old from San Candido lost only 400 ATP points and prize money in the Masters 1000 at Indian Wells, the tournament that took place at the time of the first doping test. The last few months have not been easy for Sinner from an emotional point of view, and the attitude of the Italian on the tennis court had revealed a certain sadness in more than one occasion. Jannik is happy to have put this bad period behind him and will be one of the protagonists of the US Open, which starts tomorrow at Flushing Meadows. Sinner is one of the main favorites for victory in New York, although his path is not easy. In theory, the Italian could face Daniil Medvedev, Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic. Zverev on Sinner's case. Before the US Open began, many tennis players were questioned about the doping case involving world number 1 Jannik Sinner. Alexander Zverev, who lost to Sinner in Cincinnati last week, talked about this controversy. "I only discovered the news of Sinner through X and Instagram. Usually they find out if you are positive or not and then try to figure out where it all comes from." In the case of Sinner, everything was revealed in one day, which is the only thing that was a little strange. Anyway, I do not have enough information and I can't make up my mind about it. Jannik is an exceptional guy I know even off the court, and I've always had a good relationship with him, and that's not going to change. A few days ago, Sinner announced that he will no longer work with Umberto Ferrara and Giacomo Naldi. Through his Instagram account, Naldi has expressed his position. "It's true that there are 2 paths to justice. The real one sanctioned by the courts and the unfortunately more effective, sanctioned by media. The latter is too often superficial and rarely based on concrete facts, which in this case, by the way, are public. As a spectator, I always wondered what was the purpose of spectacular court cases, if not to judge, create or destroy people and their reputations. Today I'm the protagonist. I have confirmation of this. A year and a half ago I joined a fantastic work group, consisting of good people, great professionals, travel companions. With them I experienced moments of joy and pain, shared emotions, savored victories and defeats. With the people of this group, I have created a strong bond, but most importantly I have been able to achieve historic goals, which have taken us into the history of Italian tennis. I am proud to have been part of this great team, aware that I gave my all, that I was 100% professional, but also that I gave more, because when you put your heart into it, it is certain that you give more. It hurts to think about not being a part of it anymore. Tough not being in the box with you and cheering for Jannik, but I will have to get used to it quickly. Thank you Vagno Darren Tsipa, it was a beautiful journey, an unforgettable story. Thank you Jannik and best of luck, for a great career, you are a champion. Keep hunting." The US Open promises a show. After a week of controversy due to the case related to Jannik Sinner, we return to tennis, and in these hours will start the US Open, 4th and last tournament of the Grand Slam of the season, a year that will see Jannik Sinner starting from number 1 in the world. Despite the 400 points lost to the Indian Wells affair, Sinner is clearly ahead of Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz and can gain further ground on paper. Djokovic defends the title and thus 2,000 points. Alcaraz also has many points to defend, and this is practically the last tournament where Sinner has margin to increase his advantage in the standings. A top 20 unchanged. First changes immediately after the first 20 with Tabilo and Khachanov, who surpass Baez. Then really little with all the Italians rather stable. Stable Berrettini gains a position Darderi, while Lorenzo Sonego gains 10 positions, and thanks to this result he returns in the top 50.